Welcome, everyone. We are so excited to have you here with us tonight and that you are here to learn with us. And so go ahead and in the chat, go ahead and let us know where you are joining us from. And also let us know what your biggest hormone challenge is. And we just might have a prize attached to this. So be sure you let us know where you're joining from. And tonight we have the privilege of learning from Mary Starr Carter, the Total Wellness Doc, and some of her story. I have been blessed to be able to work with Mary for probably about 5 years now that I've had that. And more so in the last couple years, I have been able to travel with her and, just been really blessed by everything that she shares with us and that she does for us. She's a wealth of knowledge, and I have been part of her, a pupil and part of her mentorship and her weight program. And I've been able to release 57 pounds through that. And now I also get to help mentor people through that. And that's all because of things that she has helped to share with me. So I'm very thankful for that. I have been blessed, and I know that you are going to be blessed. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it over to you, Mary.
Yay. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Gwen. If any of you get a chance to meet Gwen ever, she is absolutely fantastic. She is so inspiring to all of us to watch her journey, how she helps others, how she just does an amazing, amazing job. If we've never met before, I am Mary Starr Carter. I'm known as the Total Wellness Doc and Mom. And honestly, so I was looking down since 1996, I have been helping women all over the world get healthy. And tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit more about myself, but tonight I want to give you some goodies. Okay, let's just give them all away right now. I'm going to lay it all out for you at the beginning so you can do all this, okay, that you can get happy hormones. How many of you need some happy hormones, right? We all need happy hormones. I think whatever age we are, we need happy hormones. And I have been blessed to be challenged in this area myself and to get some solutions. So I'm here to help you as well. All right, so first up, I'm going to share my screen. First thing I'm going to give you free tonight, I am going to give you, let's see where it is. I'm going to give you a 3-day meal plan guide that is going to help you balance your hormones. The foods that you eat over these 3 days. You can pick and choose the recipes you like. You can leave some, but they are very specific to help in the hormone area, and you'll learn about that. So someone put this in the chat here. It is www.starrhealth, STARR health.com/landing/meal plan. So www.starrhealth. Oh, maybe I could cut and paste and do that. Maybe I could. Let's see. Here we go. We'll put this in the chat here. So that is free for you tonight. I want to give you that as a gift. Okay. Next thing that I have for you tonight is I only have, I'm hoping just 20 minutes-ish. So I can't go over all the things I'm going to share with you, but we have over 249 videos for you. 249 videos on my YouTube channel, which is YouTube. Well, I'll put it in the chat too. Here we go. It's at Starr Health, STARR health.com. There we go. You can have that. I don't know if you need videos there, but you can have that. But there's lots of great videos there as well. Look at this amazing woman right here. Can you guys see Gwen? She's at 57 pounds now, isn't she? This is a great video. I definitely recommend you watch that. So with that is free for you too. What else do we got here for you tonight? Oh, we are going to be giving away a $10 Amazon gift card, but also I'm going to give away at the end what I have launched last week, but I've been doing these since 2009 possibly, as a Zyto evaluation. So if you go to starrhealth.com/Zyto, you can see all of that. And this is very, very cool. Wherever you live, mostly in the world, I can send this to you. I had someone in the UK I read, and so I go through it and it gives you clues to what's going on, including hormones. including hormones. And any of you who are in Rev Up program tomorrow, we're going to be giving one of these away too. So you get 2 chances here. So we'll be giving one of these away. You do the scan, you get the scan, but then I evaluate it and look at it as well. So that is something that we're giving away, and that's www.Starr Health Zyto. We'll put that in the chat too. Oh, my chat went away here. You guys still there? Here it is. There we go. All right, anything else? Let's just introduce you to it if you haven't heard already of a program that I'm blessed to do with so many great people like Amy Spady, who's here. I think Amy's released over 60 pounds on her journey, and that's our Rev Up program. So www.Starr Health Rev Up, you can learn more about that because you might hear a little bit about that tonight as well. All right. So let's get started. I see my good friend is here. Welcome, 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 and let's go. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about my journey here. Man, I feel like I look so good here. Does this look like a 50-year-old woman? Tell me, do I look like a 50-year-old woman? Tell me in the chat. Be nice, all right? Be nice. So my journey started helping women in 1996, and shortly after chiropractic school. I started actually in maternity. I was an intern in maternity, helping women when they delivered their babies, helping the doctors and the nurses there. Moved on to chiropractic school, where I was introduced to a form of natural medicine that and a amazing mentor who really shift my life, literally shift my life. I'm so grateful for that. Thank you, Kelly. And through that natural medicine, plant remedies, and so many things that I learned, nutrition, all of that, I've been literally helping women since 1999, particularly women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And we're going to talk about why that's important. So a lot of these women would come to me, they come to my office, they had weight issues, they struggled with depression, a lot of depression, fatigue, anxiety. Back then, a lot of them were labeled pain issues, a lot of pain issues, right? A lot of them were labeled with fibromyalgia, and a ton of them were on antidepressants. That was back in the day in my county, at least in Oswego County, it was kind of an epidemic. Everyone, if you had pain or issues, and the reason that that's important is most of these women were prescribed these in their 40s, 50s, and or 60s. All right, and we're going to talk about why that is important to hear and why. So we would do this technique. It's called the raindrop technique. It's really beautiful massage, essential oil, acupressure technique, and they'd be on my table for about probably about an hour. So we spend an hour together, and a lot of them would actually have an emotional release. It wasn't uncommon for them to share about maybe a past trauma, and it could have happened in their 30s or way back, when they were a child. And I didn't think it was unusual because I thought, well, it's just, what we're doing. But now looking back and looking at what actually is happening in the brain, right, in our 40s, 50s, and 60s, I'll talk to you why trauma release in this time of our life is not so uncommon, and why this is coming up more and more for us in those years. So here I am in my 20s and 30s. I had no kids. And, a lot of these women, I have to admit, I had judged them. I said, I'm not going to let my health, I'm not going to put my kids as a priority over my own health. I'm not going to do all these things. And then I had kids, right? Had my first son when I was 35 years old. Mark that date, that time, 35, because that's an important age. Okay, 35. And shortly after having him, I went into pretty bad postpartum depression, didn't realize what I was in at all. So about a year later, kind of came out of that and got pregnant. And then I had my first miscarriage. And this would be my first of 6 miscarriages. First of 6 miscarriages. So here I am at 36, really struggled, 36 all the way into my early 40s, struggling with infertility. But after my second miscarriage that I had, that was 2011, the end of 2011. I made a commitment in 2012 to get my health back on track. And I said, you know what? I'm going to get my health back on track. And I remember starting to exercise with Chalene Johnson. Everybody remember Chalene Johnson back then? I was lifting weights every day. And, before my son got up, and I was eating whole foods and I felt great and I lost weight and I just felt amazing. And then about June, our church was doing a Daniel fast, and which any of you ever done a Daniel fast before? It's all vegetables. So I'm eating a variety of vegetables and I get pregnant right after that. And interesting enough, I had that full pregnancy. And that was my daughter, beautiful daughter, Sarah Grace, right? Sarah Grace Carter. And so that was a really wonderful time. But now as two kids, and then we take a huge move and we move, all the way from New York to Florida. And I didn't realize how many of you have had major moves in your life, right? If you've had a child, if you've had major moves, these are serious things to our body. And I'm just going to call them traumas. I feel like maybe you're hearing that word a lot. Maybe you feel it's overused a lot, but to our bodies, our nervous systems, and our brains, and you'll hear why I'm talking about this in a second. They are small traumas, sometimes big traumas, depending on how our body and brains react to that we may not even realize is happening. So I remember getting to this new location where we lived in Florida, and we had family there, and it was nice. But I remember starting to feel a lot of fatigue, some depression. I remember, how many of you can remember Sundays, right? Or maybe you go through this now, you getting all the kids ready for church to get there on time. Like, you got to do this. I remember on Sundays, I would literally have to lay flat on the ground, flat on a hard ground, because my nervous system, I was like going into a panic attack because my husband was stressed out. We were going to be late and I couldn't get the kids and I was like, out. Like it was all, any of you struggle with that too? You don't have to raise your hand. You can give me a wink. Okay. You can give me a wink. I can just see you here through there. Well, I guess everybody can see you too, but a silent wink. How about that? So anxiety, depression, I couldn't handle stress as much. That's when I started to feel like I really couldn't handle stress as much. Started having more aches and pains, sprained ankles, just odd things, right? So here I am in my 40s. I'm still struggling with infertility quite a bit, starting to gain quite a lot of weight. Um, have another really hard miscarriage at 20 weeks. That was a very hard trauma right when I turned 40. Um, and that was a hard time. And the next year, our family had the opportunity to move across the country again, right? So here, just more and more things. In 2018, my husband had a horrific bicycle accident. Was the hospital 21 days in a hospital bed in our house. Like, I didn't realize that these things, because I don't know about you, but I'm a strong God, God and me and Jesus were like this. So spiritually, I was very strong. And I thought, well, that's all I need to get through. And we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. But if you fully read your Bible, right, there is Bible truths in there about food and about rest, even about trauma, right? And I think as women, and I'm going to be a little hard on some of my friends here, as women, we put this Proverbs 31 woman up like this, but we don't actually read it. We're trying to be a Proverbs 31 woman without delegating, without getting somebody to help us clean the house. We think that we can homeschool and we can have maybe a side business and we can volunteer at church and we can do this over here and we can make all the meals, and it's okay if our husband travels for half the week. Like, we do all of these things, and then we wake up one day when we're 50 pounds overweight, or we have immune system disorder, or our nervous system shuts down, right? I just want you to sit with that for a second. if we truly want to get happy hormones, which ultimately is good health, then we have to really look at how we're living our lives. And we have to look at the stress in our lives. And we have to look at what we've been through. Maybe it was you had a acute or a car accident or an awful surgery, right? Or all those things. Your body needs to process those things. Okay. So here I am, 50 pounds overweight, and 2020 happens. Friends, I mean, holy moly, we've been through a hard season. We've been through a hard season. No one got out of that trauma. No one did. Even those of us who worked from home, we did not get out of that trauma, right? So we're coming out now already deficient. And I am coaching so many women right now who are struggling and they're tired and they're depressed and their hormones are all over the place. Why? Why? Because we have to go back to the foundation. We have to come back to, why it is our hormones are unhealthy. All right. So get your pen and paper. When do we have anybody to give away our free early bird drawing?
We do. Our winner for our early bird for an Amazon gift card was Leslie Hoke.
Yay!
So
Leslie.
Leslie, if you want to send over your email address, you can put it in the chat. You can just private message it and we will get that to you.
Awesome. 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 Well, any of you who are watching this on YouTube, you too can win a $10 Amazon e-gift card if you write in the description. So we're going to give you a week. Once this comes up on YouTube, we're going to give you a week to go in the comments on YouTube and tell us what you liked best about this conversation. But all of you who are watching live, I want you to make sure you write down one actionable item at the end of this talk, one actionable item that you can take and move forward with that you're going to do to give yourself happy hormones. Okay. All right, here we go. So let me get back to my notes. So I want you to see my little woman over here. I guess she looks more like a girl, but this little woman here, she is having some happy hormones. And I'll tell you why, because these are the areas that we have to think about. Okay. When we think of hormones, hormones are happening about big hormone changes besides from infancy to puberty. Okay. That happens all the time. Hey friends, whoever just got on, we're hearing praise worship in the background. 3 times in your life. 3 times. Okay. So puberty, pregnancy, and our journey up to menopause. Yay, menopause. That's how we should be celebrating menopause. What is menopause? Menopause is a day. It is a day from 1 year from your last period. So when you are transitioning to menopause, right, which on average happens at age 51 here in America, I think North America, Canada, and America. It happens at age 51. So 50% of you will go through menopause before that. 50% will go through menopause after that. Okay. So it happens at age 51 and it's 1 year from your last period. I was just about to celebrate and God had other plans. I had other plans and I am reverse aging. And I'll tell you a little bit about what I did and how I'm doing this and how good I feel about that. Okay. So, but what is happening, it's not just a hormone thing, it's a brain remodeling. It is literally your brain is changing. Okay. So when we go through puberty, we probably all know that, like how the brain changes, right? It becomes a little different. If you've had adolescence, you've probably experienced like, where did their brain go, right? If you've gone through pregnancy, you're like, where did my brain go? Like I'm forgetting names, or it's because your brain is remodeling for a different season of your life. right? A different season of your life. That's why it's super, super important for when these changes happen, that we have a lot of good foundational nutrients, that when we go through pregnancies, when we go through perimenopause, which I'll talk about in a second, and beyond, that we have really good nutrition, omegas, all of the things, because if we don't, right, there's more deficiency there. So there's this remodeling that happens, right? So those 3 times the remodeling happens. Now, perimenopause. Now, what is perimenopause, right? You're seeing it all over the socials lately. But perimenopause is this time, it can be up to 15 years before menopause. So the reason I gave you those dates, it can happen as early as 35. I got my period when I was 9 years old, right? I was going through perimenopause and trying to have babies at the same time, right? My hormones were not good, not good. We'll talk about hormones, a little bit more about hormones too. I wanted to read a couple funny things to you. Okay, so perimenopause can happen in 15 years, but a lot of times it'll happen 7 to 8 years, right? Genetically, a lot of times too, when your mom went through menopause, if she didn't have any other outside, things happening, is when you traditionally kind of when you will go through menopause too. Um, all right. Well, I'll post those up later, some of those funny things about perimenopause. But perimenopause, so here I was seeing all these women in their 40, 50, and 60s. They were having depression, they were having labeled fibromyalgia, all of these pain conditions. But really what was happening is they were having all of these both brain changes as well as hormonal changes, including inflammation in the body. They were starting to have a lot of inflammation in their body, right? So of course they would have a lot of pain. So when I look back and I think about, hmm, perimenopause, they can have dry eye syndrome, they can have brain fog, they could have anxiety and panic disorders, perimenopause. What are some more of the symptoms of perimenopause? Taste changes, weight gain, unexplained weight gain. How many of you have been in your late 30s or early 40s, just like, why are my jeans not fitting anymore? I haven't changed any of how I've been eating. Like nothing's changed it, and my jeans aren't fitting anymore, right? So it's really important that we recognize before we accept what our doctor gives, because there is very few, there is hardly any, even OBGYNs get really good clinical tools for those of us going through perimenopause, menopause, and beyond, right? And I know a lot of you watching are beyond that. And you're wondering, well, what do I do? Do I go back on hormones? No, we're going to talk about that. Okay. All right. So I've already gone to my 20 minutes, but how about you give me 15 minutes more? Okay. So one of the things to understand as you journey through your womanhood is that your brain is going to remodel, right? That you have a brain issue, not brain issue, but you have to really take care of the brain, and you have to take care of your body. But another area you really need to take care of that most women are not aware of is the gut. Okay, you've heard a lot about brain gut connection. I know my friend, I don't know if she's on here too, health practitioner Jolene Berger. She's done a lot of teaching on the gut health as well, but there's a brain gut connection. Now, listen to this. You've heard of gut or microbiome, right? So the microbiome is a combination of, we hear good bacteria, right, and bad bacteria. And a lot of times we're just hearing about the bad bacteria, like we need to get rid of the bad bacteria. But our microbiome is not just the gut, it's actually all through the sinuses, right? All through the nasal cavities, all through the vaginal area, like, and our skin, and all of our skin, right? So important thing to recognize too, especially if skin issues and stuff. So we have this microbiome, and that good microbiome is responsible for hormones like serotonin. They help with happy, which makes us happy. GABA is very calming to the brain. Blood sugar like good microbiome is any of you struggle with blood sugar regulation, right? It controls helps our metabolism. It helps eat up harmful estrogens. It helps grow good estrogens. It it's so important to our health. In fact, there's some really good a good documentary. If somebody knows what it is, they can put it in here. I just watched it. But how they would take the microbiome from like say your brother or something and inject it into you. Like, and I won't tell you how they did that, but you would get microbiome from like a family member or donated from someone and literally like start to get some of the characteristics or personality likes or dislikes from that person. Is that crazy or what? Right? You know, we've heard that with organs. We heard that when people have gotten organ replacements, but the microbiome, like we have already seen probably in the past 10 years, this huge thing, like you can get these tests now, gut zoomer test and all that. And we'll talk about testing a little bit later, but really, really important. But what happens is, especially through 2020, is all the antibiotic use, all the antibacterial things that we used on our skin, right, started to kill off all the good. One round of antibiotics, one round of antibiotics can knock out like 90% of that good bacteria. That's trouble, friends. That's a lot of trouble. You know, I think back to there's a lot of things. Stress can knock out your microbiome, traumas, different things like that can really affect the microbiome. I have an autistic son, and this is a very important area that we are looking at and to help him, to help his brain. Right. So if you want to help your brain, you want to help your brain fog, you maybe you have a history in your family of dementia, Alzheimer's, any kind of brain disorder, plaquing, things like that, you want to start in the gut. Okay. You want to start in the gut. Um, uh, we see things like when our good microbiome is gone, anxiety, depression, multiple immune system disorders, all of that can be problems, right? Really, really bad problems. What else did I want to say about that too? Okay, there's this specific part of the microbiome called the oh, I can never say this, but it's estrobolome, which is super important. And it's about 60 different bacteria, and that's for neurotransmitters. They protect against having, if they really are protectors, they help against high cholesterol, they help um, break down B vitamins and create B vitamins. They do a lot of, they're super, super important. They're super, super important to our health. And if we are not feeding them correctly, if we're not doing the good things, and you can actually get tests, and I have with my female doctor I work with, Dr. Sherry Vincent, where we get this gut test and she looks at it, she's like, wow. So when let me show you a picture. Back in 2019, let me see if I can find a picture here. I put it up in the group here. You see this picture. So this is me in 2019. Terrible acne, 50 pounds overweight. You can just see I'm fatigued, right? So I got my gut health looked at. This is me in 2024. And there were some things there, but some of the things that were really good in there, she was really kind of shocked. She's like, wow, your blank blank bacteria is doing really good. And one of the things, so here's some things that are free for you to do to help your good gut bacteria, particularly this hormone, estrobolome. I forget how to say it, but to help them. Eating foods that are high in polyphenols. Eating foods and higher polyphenols. Now, what are those kind of foods? Cloves, berries, olives, dark berries, friends, right? Wolfberries, friends. How many of you know that I've been drinking something called Ninja Red for many, many years? And I believe it's my theory, it's only my theory, that that was part of why, even though I was unhealthy, that I was feeding this one good bacteria as well. Okay. So you can feed the good bacteria also with probiotic foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, right? Kefir, raw dairy. Um, of course, you can take probiotics as well. That's really good. I like a product called Life 9, or Mighty. What is it? A lot of us, we have a kids formula too for probiotics, but you can look into that too. But when you get your gut looked at, one of the nice things about getting your gut looked at, especially if you're struggling right now with depression, anxiety, just feeling like stuck in a rut, you might want to get your gut bacteria looked at. Okay. It might be an important thing for you to do, even at any age, whether you're a young child or in your 90s. It might be a good idea to do because you could actually dial in what bacteria your body needs. And there's actually bacteria that they say if you have that, if you have a good amount of that, you're going to live a long time. It's like called the longevity bacteria. Okay. So super, super important. So you have the probiotics and then you have the prebiotics. So the probiotics put the good bacterias in. The prebiotics feed the bacteria, right? So these are things like chia, flax, hemp, but they're also like, what is it, like artichokes and certain foods too that you can look that up too. Again, I know of a product that you can take too if you're not getting all of those good veggies or things in your diet too. So there's prebiotic products on the market, there's probiotic things on the market, and then there's polyphenols. And all of us love Ninja Red, and I think that's what's really helping that in the Rev Up program because we eat a lot of vegetables in that. So the last thing I'll say on the gut that is free for you to do, and it's a challenge for you. I'm gonna give you a challenge right now. Is there's research that if you have 30 different, right? Write this down. 30 different plants, seeds, nuts, grains, legumes. If you have 30 different in a week's time, over a period of time, right? It might take a couple of months that you can regenerate your good bacteria. Like you could totally switch everything and you're probably going to lose weight. Because if you do not have good amount of bacteria and a good variety of bacteria, you're not going to lose weight. And that's been proven too. People who struggle with obesity, especially if you feel like you're eating the right things, you're at 1,200 to 1,500 calories and you're not losing weight like everybody else, you might want to look in that area of your gut. Okay, so we've covered that deeply, but this is a foundation of happy hormones, friends, right? Yes, I could go show you all the hormone stuff that I do take some, right? But you have to start with the foundation. All right, so there, we took care of our guts, okay? Our hearts. Well, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but I am going to encourage us that with the remodeling through perimenopause to menopause of our brain, have you ever experienced this almost like, when I was in my 30s, I was so uptight. But now I just don't care, right? It's like, because there's this kind of remodeling or like a grandmother who wasn't a good mother, but she's like an amazing grandmother and like a new woman, right? So this remodeling that happens. But what I'm seeing a lot too is that the things that maybe, and these traumas don't have to be things like abuse, friends. They could be something as simple. I remember coaching a client where she had gotten sick over a holiday and they had a kind of a large family and no one came to the hospital to visit her on like a Thanksgiving or a Christmas, and that feeling of rejection and loneliness like really sat in her cells. like literally the cells of her body, and it affected how she responded to the world and how she did things. So I am a big proponent of getting some type of counseling, therapy, trauma work, working with a trauma informed, maybe life coach, something like that to help you in this area too, right? To help you with your heart. Now, along with the heart is our nervous system, right? I could put a little spine here in our brain, and that's part of our brain too, is our nervous system. And when we go through perimenopause and on to menopause too, we're not able to multitask as well. Like our brains aren't going to go there anymore, but we're not able to handle trauma as well, because when your estrogen goes low, which happens when you're going through perimenopause onto menopause, when estrogen's high, we can actually handle those things much better. And I think because I went through all of those changes and traumas from 35 to 50, that my body just couldn't handle them as much as I could handle things like in my 20s and things like that as well. So dealing with those things is very, very important. But something I can do on on a daily basis to help my nervous system, right? To help me. I'm a big proponent of chiropractic care. I was a chiropractor. I am a retired chiropractor. I believe in it fully. It's very powerful for the menopausal woman because her brain also does not detox as well, right? And I'm getting a little complicated and things like that too, but I want to talk to you about some of my favorite, actually, I'm not going to talk to you all about essential oils. We're going to go and talk about that another time, and I'll tell you when and where we'll do that. But I love Young Living essential oils. They're my favorite, but there's so many of them that have helped to help me stay calm. They've helped to help my heart when it's hurting. They've helped me to take a breath when I really want to wring somebody's neck, right? When I can't believe so and so did this or my child did that, right? They just really help to keep me in a good space. So that is a simple tool. That would be a better tool, right? Than maybe just exercise and all of those things too. Okay, so we talked about our gut. We talked about the heart just a little bit. The nervous system, we can talk more about that, but I really want to go back to the brain. All right. Why do we want to keep the brain so healthy and happy? And as a menopausal woman, perimenopausal to menopausal woman, there's things that we have to do. Number one thing, if you want to have healthy, happy hormones, is you got to get your diet right. You know, so many of you say, I'm not changed the way I've eaten. Well, yeah, friend, but your body's changing and your hormones are changing. And if you want to keep your estrogen and testosterone, right, which is a brain hormone, testosterone is not just for the libido, friends. It's a brain hormone. It's a muscle building hormone. We need our hormones as long as possible. And if you want to keep them, you've got to eat right. You've got to eat right. You've got to get rid of the processed food, the packaged foods, right? You've got to get rid of the sodas and the diet sodas. You've got to balance your insulin levels. Insulin is a hormone, and insulin is another foundational thing we need to look at, not only for our gut, but for longevity and all the diseases that will come with that. Now, let's talk about that in relation to the brain. Okay. How can we keep the brain healthy and happy? Does that mean I just need to keep my blood sugar even throughout the day? Well, you can if you prioritize your food. And I wish I could tell you all the things about food and stuff like that, but I'm going to have some of my Rev Up clients comment in the chat for you about what eating a very anti-inflammatory, good, healthy, filling, lots of food diet does for them, right? What have you experienced? What have you experienced? And I see this with my own daughter, right? She will go too long of a periods of eating and she gets fatigued and irritable and, but I know some of you have type 2 diabetes, right? And you're struggling with that too. The good thing is, and we do know that type 2 diabetes, and I'm not saying anything that isn't in the medical fact, is that can be reversible, but it's going to take work. It's going to take work, and we need to change the way we eat. And if you just go back to eating a lot of veggies and eating a good amount of protein, that's one of the keys too, is most of the women I've coached through the years just aren't getting enough protein. They have one protein source a day, or maybe eggs and a meat at night, and they think they're fine. You're not fine. You need more protein as you age. You cannot build muscle like you did in your 20s and 30s. Your ability to actually take the protein in to build muscle, it's serious. And I'm talking my postmenopausal women right now. You got to get that diet under control. You've got to eat the protein. You've got to eat the vegetables. And then here's a tip for you. Here's a tip for you. If you want to control insulin and you want to control your metabolism, you need to look into fasting, starting with 12 hours, friends. Stop eating in 12 hours, like from if you start eating at 8, stop eating at 8 o'clock at night. And then for my peri and postmenopausal friends, you're going to put it to 10 hours. They have found compared to 14 hours, 10 hours can totally like jack your metabolism up and help your blood sugar levels, like super good. Now, this won't happen overnight. You probably want to coach with someone, a nutritionist or whatever to help you do this, but it's super, super important. And then I want you to get, thought I had it here. It's just saw, there it is. I want you to get this book. This is a resource for you. It's called the Menopause Reset. Whether you are in your early 30s or your 80s, get this book. Get it on Audible. If you're a reader, get this book because there's so many good things in there. And this is where I found a lot of the information I share with you today. I've been studying with Dr. Mindy for quite some time now. An absolute must read, but so many good things. And she really talks to you about fasting too and how you can regenerate your microbiome. You can regenerate your immune system and your neurotransmitters. Like, hello, like all free, friends, all free if you're willing to do the work, right? If you're willing to do the work. So another thing about insulin is that we have to stop eating in the dark. There's a lot of research too that eating in the dark, like when it's dark out, which is hard, right? For especially as East Coasters, or I guess anywhere you live, but it is you should eat in the daytime and not in the nighttime. So try those. That's another free tip for you as well. Next, so that's good. Those are free things. Better, remember that Ninja Red I was talking to you a little bit about? Well, our friends who drink Ninja Red seem to find they have more balanced blood sugar, right? They have more balanced blood sugar. They have low, what is all the stats on that? Somebody can put it in the chat as well. It's the things that we can like say about it. We know it does so many more things, but it helps to regulate inflammation levels, your immune response, eyesight. Like my friends here will put it in the chat, all the things that Ninja Red does. So this is another next level if you want to really start to balance your insulin levels and help the brain sugar. Now, the other thing with the brain that us women start having problems with right around 30, say maybe 44 is when I started to have sleep troubles. Anyone struggle with sleep, right? I get some thumbs up there. Started having sleep troubles. And that is a brain issue too. So you've got to dial in the sleep. So let's talk about sleep. A lot of evidence, you're probably seeing this all over socials as well right now, is how to regulate your sleep cycles is with sunlight, with the morning light. So if you're a person who's been scrolling all night, you're watching Netflix all night, you're staying up till 1 or 2 in the morning and then getting up at 6, that's a no-go anymore. Once you go through perimenopause, especially, you can't do that anymore. You're going to be way impatient. You're going to be irritable. You're going to find yourself going for the sugars more. Like sleep, it has to be a priority. If you want to live a long life, a long, happy life, if you want to love the people around you and have more patience, you have to make sleep a priority. So let's go back to the one of the ways you can get back in rhythm with your sleep. So when you go to bed at night, melatonin should be high and insulin should be low. So again, here's a free tip. If I try to eat right at 8 o'clock and go to bed at 9, that's a no-go, right? If I'm going to go to bed at 10, I should be done eating by 7, right? If I'm going to go to bed at 9, I should be done eating by 6. A 3-hour window is best, especially if you want to detox the brain at night. Okay. You need that 3-hour window. So think about that and as you're doing. Now, we're never going to be perfect. We're never going to be perfect. And a lot of you who like, oh, but I like my Ninja Red at night. It helps me sleep. Well, do what works for you, right? Do what works for you. You know this. So we're going to try not to eat in the dark. We're going to try to eat 3 hours before we go to bed. We're going to stop that and watch. That'll help your night fasting as well. And we are going to try to wake up and see some morning light. Now, if that doesn't work for you, they have some things you can buy, red lights. They're called red lights, and you can purchase some of those. Probably going to cost $100 plus, but you can use that to stimulate that morning light. The other thing that is free is we can stop the blue light. Okay, so right now these aren't, but I have another pair of glasses that are blue light blockers because I'm in front of a screen, whether it's a TV, a laptop, or your phone, you need to stop the blue light. And some of these devices have like sleep modes or dark modes or things like that. But we really should try to get off of devices, at least an hour, 2 hours, they say for kids, especially before we go to bed if we want to dial in sleep. Now, I have many more things to talk to you about sleep. I have many things that I have been using as well, but I have a gift for you. And I'm going to close a little bit more on hormones. I have a gift for you tonight. At the beginning of this class, I gave you a 3-day meal plan, which will have lots of vegetables, a good amount of protein every day, all of that. And I'll have somebody put that again in the comments. Actually, I'll go ahead and share that with you. No, I'll have somebody put that in the comments that they wrote that down. I have lots of videos on sleep, on pain, on different issues on my YouTube channel. But I know those things are like sometimes challenging. Maybe you just want a simple tip or you want to ask me a question or something like that. I have thought about it for some time now, and I've just been coaching so many of you. I have this group. It's called Total Wellness with YL, Total Wellness with Young Living. And a lot of us are living young, and we have been able to make some changes in our health in that group using nutrition, using our Rev Up Wellness program, using essential oils, using supplementation or different tricks. Like today, Karen Warman shared something that worked for her and her husband for back pain. Were really struggling with back pain. So it's a great group, but I decided that I'm going to be shifting it this summer. And this summer, we're going to change it over to talk about these things: depression, anxiety, insulin resistance, sleep, weight management, brain, your gut, how to deal with stress in your life, right? How to have a better lifestyle. We like to call it a rev up lifestyle. We like to make those changes, but I'm going to be changing that group and I'm being opening up to not just my own customers or my own patients, but to people who are really serious about making a change. So let me see if I can find that. And I'm going to put it in the chat. I'm going to put in the chat a link if you would like to become a member in that group. Let me see if I can find that. So that's another free gift that I want to give to you tonight because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to to talk about all the things that really made a difference in my life, because I know I'm missing some things, some of the exercise being a big one of them. Exercise, uh, huge change in my life. If you want your hormones back on track, you've got to exercise. Can I get an amen, Gwen and Amy Spady, right? All of you who've been in the Rev Up program, you know how exercise it can be literally life-changing to your hormones. Okay, so how can we help the brain? Number one thing we can do for the brain is we can be eating a good, healthy foods that are protecting our gut, so our gut can be helping our brain, right? We can help dial in the stress for our brain. We can help sleep. Sleep helps to detox the brain. It's super, super important. And I have so many more tips that I want to share, especially those who have maybe dementia, Alzheimer's, things like that. I have so many good tips and tools to share with you, but I'll share in that private group, our total wellness group as well. So all of these can help you have a more longevity, more healthier hormones, more balanced hormones. But I have to tell you right now, there is no such thing as balanced hormones. My hormone status is going to be different than Holly's hormone status at the same age, because in my 20s and 30s, depending how I lived, what my genetics is and stuff, is when you really get you should get a baseline of your hormones. And you can do that. I'm in the group. I will give you some recommendations of different practitioners I've worked with. Blood tests aren't enough. And again, most doctors, even your female doctors, just don't have enough knowledge to really understand and read them, right? Or understand, oh, wait, no, let's look at the thyroid. Wait, look, you don't have enough vitamin D. You need vitamin D to produce testosterone. Like most of them just don't have that knowledge unless you're really working with a good functional doctor. So I'm going to put some of those things in that total wellness group as well too. So I've done tests. So me personally, for my hormones, I did a gut zoomer, or not a gut zoomer, but it was GI. It's called GI effects test. Dr. Sherry had that, so I've done those twice. And my last poop test, she said I had the best poop she had ever seen. Like, she was just so shocked at how good my poop was. And you're going to learn more in that total wellness group how that is, right? It was a lot of the Rev Up program. It was a lot of the nutrition I took and some other things that I did to really hone in my health and get looking amazing at age 50 versus what I looked, just 5 years ago. I did do some blood tests, and then I did, it's like, I forget the name of it, but they might even call it a Dutch test or something like that. But it's basically where you pee over 24 hours and you collect your pee, because they see there's one thing of your hormones in your blood, but what are you actually utilizing? What's actually going into the cells? So it's a different thing. So if you want to test, you can do that. Those tests though, I mean, all of them, like, depending what you're paying out of pocket, but the two tests I know are close to like maybe $600 total. So that's expense. And I know a lot of you, that's just not something in your budget, but you can start looking at, where am I at? Where are my symptoms at? Can you start changing your diet, dialing in your sleep, doing those things? Because even though, my hormones were great, I mean, they can change like that. That's why it's hard to even dose someone. But I will say, for a lot of years, I was against like hormone replacement therapy. But through this journey, especially women, if you're willing to do the work with your diet, and if you're not, that's fine as well. But looking at, well, where can we start, right? So a lot of times we'll start with plant-based. So I take something every day called Femigen. I don't know if I can say why I take this. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it helps maintain balance during menopause. Okay, so you can imagine what that balance might be, right? So Femigen, my mother-in-law like told me about this. She swore by this. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. My helper Pat, she uses this. She can't be without it. Femigen is just, so that's when, some of those things start happening. Okay. If you get my drift. But prior to that, this is another plant-based. It's called Progessence Plus. This is one of my new best friends. Again, I don't know what I can say about it. All I know is that I sleep really good with this, right? I really love this. I feel happier with this as well. Oh, did I mention too, at 48, I started having the vaginal dryness, sex got very uncomfortable. It was not a good thing. Was not a good thing, right? And I was like, I need to really get on top of this. And that's when I had all my testing done and things like that. And Dr. Sherry said, okay, well, let's start to work with these things and stuff too. So this is something, it's called Osteoderm. And this is like to help with my estrogen. And this has been very good too. This is not a product by Young Living. It's just something I do. Some of you use estradiol. I also have that. I haven't used it a lot. But estradiol is like a very calming, very good hormone. A lot of people who struggle with depression, because we all have genetic weaknesses, right? We all have what's called dirty genes. Some of us have more dirty genes for chemical sensitivities. Some of you have dirty genes for, whatever. And they get turned on and off based on our lifestyle a lot of times. So even though all my family might have high cholesterol, I can keep that turned off by exercising, by doing things that really support the liver. I didn't talk about the liver tonight, but I will in that group. All of those things as well. So that it is all very important. And there's so many more great nutritional products, supplements that I can talk to you about, because each of us is different, right? But this is my new happy combination, and I'm sleeping so good. But again, I use a lot of nutrition. I use a lot of good supplements because I spent a lot of years not doing the best for my health. I put a lot of band-aids on things because I would just like, if I got a pain, I'd use this cream or this plant medicine or whatever, and I'd be better. But really looking at what was the roots of what was going on. And that's what I challenge you tonight. I challenge you to write in the comments one thing that you learned tonight that could help you. And just to recap, right? We learned tonight, like, oh, okay, I could be going through the changes, brain and hormonal changes, up to 15 years before menopause. After menopause, okay, if I'm not going to eat right and do all the things and keep the inflammation down, what's going to happen, right? I'm going to have continue to have brain deterioration. I'm going to continue to have bone deterioration. I'm going to continue to have pain and weight gain and all of those things. That's why it's super important in those years that we have to make movement a priority. We have to really dig into this. We have to look, is there any other ways I can support my body? And unfortunately, yes. You can do all the good things in the world and all the free things, but most of us, as we age, are going to have to make an investment in our health. On average, in your 30s, I mean, minimum, probably about $125 a month. I would say with nutritional supplementation, omegas, and again, I'll talk about these things in the group. That group, until we switch it over, I will allow people to get in that group for like free for now, at least for the summer. Okay. But after that, after we organize and get it going, and coaches like Gwen are in there and other people are in there and stuff like that, I do not know if that will be free. And that's not just like, hey, get in the group, but it's just, I'm serious because I know the value that I have to pour out to you. And I know the value of all these amazing coaches as well. All right, so we're going to pick a winner here. shortly. So in your 30s, I think in your 40s and 50s, depending on what you've done in your previous life, but I've seen people for seasons of time have to spend probably close to $300 a month for at least a season, for at least a season, um, to really regenerate, to build and stuff like that. The great thing is that a lot of us can show you how to get some of those products for free, how to win some of those products, how you can, share what's working with you to get some of those things paid back for you. So it's not as hard. Don't let the money stop you from making the changes that you need to make. So tonight, I know that there's 3 types of people, and I told you this is a mini class, but hormones are not a mini topic. Happy hormones take a while to learn, and then we have to do this. So I know there's 3 types of people watching this, probably mostly women, maybe some men, and I'm sorry I left you out, guys, but I'll give you some tips in the group too. But I know there's 3 types of people. There are the people who are curious, like, "Thanks, I maybe got a tip or 2. I might try it," but that's me, just curious. Second type of person is like, "Oh, okay. I yes, that was something I needed to know tonight. I am gonna go implement it right away." We'll call you the implementer. And the third type of person is you need to overhaul. You need to overhaul. You've got maybe a lot of extra weight right now. You're struggling. You're just not getting answers and you need to overhaul. If that is you, I encourage you to definitely plug into some of the things that we have, whether it's just getting a Zyto. Uh, I talked to you about a Zyto evaluation in the beginning where I can do a reading for you. It's not that expensive. It can start to give you some clues, or get into our Rev Up program. Get into our Rev Up program. It's, I think, less than $200 that you can get in there. You can get your Ninja Red. You can start eating the healthy foods. You start this overhaul, and it's only 10 days, but those 10 days could really spark something in you, like it did Gwen, right? Like it did Amy, like it did Holly, who they're different people today. They're different in their bodies, in their minds, all different ways. So if you're watching this and someone invited you, I want you to get back to that person and tell them, "Hey, I was just curious, but I think I'm going to implement this thing." Tell them where you're at on that. Are you an implementer? Were you just curious, learned a couple of things, or do you need an overhaul? And they'll help you get started where you need to get started. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for my 20-minute class going to an hour. Yes, Lori, definitely more protein. More protein. Yes. Awesome. All right, Gwen, who is going to be the winner of our Zyto evaluation tonight? Are you muted? She must be.
I was
Okay.
paying attention and didn't get our winner pick, so give me just a second.
Okay,
I was
no
like,
worries.
"Oops."
Someone go through. Here, I'm going to put that link to the Facebook group again. So if you want to go in and ask to be added to that, and you will look for some changes as well. We're excited to be bringing you some sleep tips, some hormone tips, just giving you more tools and tips for your journey, right? Let's make the 50 to 100 like way better than 0 to 50. And I know we can. I know we can. My grandma's 97, friends. 97. Drinks Ninja Red every single day. All right.
All right. So it looks like our winner for the Zyto is going to be Libda Earls. So
Yay!
congratulations.
Linda, awesome. I know how to connect with you, Linda. I think I have access to your email. I will have my assistant get a hold of you and set up a Zyto evaluation. It's super simple. You do it on your phone. It downloads. It's really good. It's really, really good. Awesome. Thank you. Stronger for longer. Awesome, Holly. All right. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you, Gwen. Bye-bye.